Hi all, welcome back to the channel. We've just finished a set of gates repairs and we've just been dropped Merlo headstock as an emergency repair. So what's wrong with this headstock? Let's turn it round, camera round, and let's have a look. So headstock itself appears to be okay, condition-wise. Bushes there, badly worn, need to be replaced. However, that's not actually what it's come in for. The reason it's come in is we've got a ram here, which comes out on the other side for locating the buckets or any attachment that you've got on. That is the locking pin. And the actual ram itself isn't located. So it's now coming out on all angles and it's sometimes getting caught inside the box. And this isn't where it should be. So what we've got to do is we've got to pull it under the pipe. Undo the pipe, we'll pull this out, and then we'll see what actually has damaged in there. So I've yet to clean this up completely. I've literally just given it a quick wire brushing across this face. So obviously I've got to clean right round. But it appears that the ram itself ends back here somewhere. And this is the stub of the ram internally then, the internal ram rod. So at the moment, what I'm proposing is I'll cut it off here and then I'll try and make another piece like this on the lathe and put it back on and then TIG weld it carefully without damaging the seals inside. So I'll have to do it really, a step and then cool it off in water, keep it really cold because if any heat builds up and travels down this down the cylinder, it's going to melt the 2 seals or 3 seals that's on the gland internally. I'm going to have a little look online. It might be that we can undo this nut here, and I take it there's a spring in here because these cylinders won't rely on hydraulic pressure to be pushed out. The reason being, if that's pushed out and it loses pressure, this could creep back in and whatever attachment you've got on could fall off. And if that happens to be a man cage and there's somebody in it 15 foot up in the air, we could have a lawsuit towards Merlo on our hands. So what will be in here, I would presume, is a spring on this end, which pushes that out permanently, and hydraulic pressure pulls it back. And what they will have done, even though the hole is on this side, this will actually have an internal gland to come down to here, to this end, to push the gland cylinder back from that end. That's what I presume. So we'll have a look online, see if my presumption is correct. However, my old boss that I had my apprenticeships used to say the presumption is the mother of all fuck-ups. So it's worth having a look. So we'll cut this off here now and we'll see what we've got. So now it's stripped down, it's actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Basically, it's exactly the same as what I thought, but in reverse. So what they've got is this outer cylinder is stepped halfway down. There's a shoulder there. Don't know if you can see it. You see this hole, the bore hole at the far end is smaller than the bore hole this end. And what that shoulder allows is that spring comes up from the bottom and is pinched on that shoulder. And then this spring is around the center of that shaft. So that stops this from, so basically in its working operation, that spring is always putting preload on the back end of this, forcing it outwards. And then this seal is up at this proportion of the cylinder. So the actual cylinder bit, which is the hydraulic ram, is literally just that top bit down to that shoulder, which is only the first two inches ish. So we can weld as much as we want down here. It's not going to affect the cylinder at all in its hydraulic purposes. What I thought was the spring was this side pushing down, and then the oil came down here through like a channel and to this side and it was pushing it up from that beginning. Part's cheap because there's no point me giving you a bill of whatever and then finding out you can buy it for 20 quid online. However, I've just searched Merlo locking hydraulic ram cylinder for headstock, and the first one that came up was £790. The second one that came up was 600 something, and the cheapest one I found so far is 590. So this is a well worth repair doing. So let's just get on with it. We'll machine that off now in the lathe, machine a new one, and get gone. The most difficult bit is going to be finding out the exact length in which it's got to be, and we'll work that out by measuring the actual headstock. So just been over with a trusty tape. Need to get the vernier on it really and measure it accurately. But from the back end of this face up to the front end of the circlip groove needs to be 45mm, and then they've got a 5mm collar here, which then actually makes the whole overall length 150mm. But that really is irrelevant, to be fair. It's off the back edge of that to the front edge of this is the critical dimension. And the critical dimension is 145mm. Welcome back, everyone. So, unfortunately, the camera died halfway through. The battery went. So I've actually skipped a little stage, and we've machined the outer proportion of the collar top hat off camera. We're now on the boring operation. So this is critical that this will fit the same size. Sorry, that internal bore and this internal bore are exactly the same size. The reason being is when the piston rod is sliding in and out of here, there can't be anywhere for it to catch internally. Otherwise, it's going to push itself apart or not actually come out when it's under spring pressure. That in fact, that's probably more likely, that the spring wouldn't be able to get past any jagged edge in here. And then basically you've got a bucket that doesn't actually lock, and that's, obviously extremely dangerous. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to measure inside here. Not going to measure it with the vernier because this time the vernier is not quite accurate enough. What we're going to use is a bore gauge. So these are spring loaded, and you slide them inside the bore, rotate them past the horizontal mark, and they lock up. Basically, you just pinch them with this little grub screw here, this turn style. Just turn that down so it's pinched, rotate it through, and now you can use that in your micrometer, and we can measure. So now we're getting up to 39mm there as a rough measurement, and like I say, we're aiming for 42.5. So a couple more passes and we'll be there. So now I've got this set up in the vise. I machined this down ever so slightly so I could actually slide this collar. So it's slide fit down onto there, pressed fit into here. And then I'm just going to put a couple of tacks on it now. Then we'll offer the whole lot up into the machine, make sure everything's right. And then I'll run a TIG weld right the way around. So I actually ended up MIG welding that on. because I was TIG welding it, and the only filler rod I had here was seeming to crack as it was cooling. So what I could have done is I could have actually taken some wire out of the MIG welder and used that with the TIG, but I thought to myself, well, for what it's actually doing, we can weld it round. So just welded it round, and I've linished it back off. What appears to actually look like a crack on camera isn't a crack. It's just the edge of the weld where the undercut is, and I just ground it back clean. The weld is actually up here somewhere. This is actually what's overrun over the top of the chamfer. So that should be perfectly good enough. The bore's relatively tidily. You can see so the penetrations come all the way through in places. So having had that aluminium sleeve in there, that's flattened them out ever so slightly. So I've just been in there with a burr cutter now and just flap disc them off. So I'll put that now back in, and we'll see how we get on. So the next problem we've got to overcome is this has been in here so long now, rattling around, it's worn the actual housing in the headstock itself. So what we're going to do is run a bead of weld in here and then machine it back. The ideal way would be to line bore it, but it's going to take a lot of time to set the line bore up for it. So what we're going to do is we're going to cheat ever so slightly. We're going to weld it up using the aluminium slug as a guide. We'll machine the aluminium slug to be the same as this, so it's not going to weld the aluminium in. We can always tap that back out afterwards, and then we'll face it back up using a 60mm mag drill cutter. And I think we've just got enough room if we clean up here to get the mag drill in to drill it. So that's what we'll do. And then on the other side, we've got the same problem. This one isn't stepped, obviously, but if we fit this in from the back, we've got a hell of a lot of play there. And what we're going to have to do here, I think, is we're going to have to probably cut this out and make a piece to go in the right size. But we shall tackle that when we get to it. Let's do this side first and tackle one job at a time. got to say I've had this Evolution mag drill for about 5 years now, and it's been absolutely faultless. So if you ever need a mag drill, can't praise this one enough, to be fair. I made the little aluminium box on top of the welder about 3-4 weeks ago, and it's an absolute game changer, and I'll be doing that on all my welders from now on. Makes life a lot easier when you've got places to put things. Also, these 12.5 amp hour batteries that Milwaukee are now making are also a game changer. And if you're doing any form of fabrication, heavy work, I would definitely advise you purchasing them, because when you compare them with 5 amp hour batteries, the time served on the job and not having to change things over to charge all the time, definitely worth it. So what I'm doing at this point is I've drilled the outer diameter for the top hat to sit on using the mag drill, and now we're just using the drill, the handheld drill, just to clean up the inner diameter, so there's a clearance for the sleeve of the actual ram to fall through, because a slight bit of weld has gone over into the centre hole, so we just have to clean that up with a burr cutter. So whilst I've gone off to the side of the workshop to find some tools, I'd just like to thank you all for watching the channel. Please hit the like and subscribe. It means a heck of a lot to us as a small family-run business. And hopefully we can do more content like this. Feel free to drop any questions in the questions box at the bottom, and we will endeavour to try and answer these questions as we get time. And if there's a good question that needs a video to answer, by all means I will do a video and hopefully answer it and help people out. So thank you very much. And that's what we went to go and fetch. We went to go and fetch the airfoil. So if any of you are interested and are looking for an airfoil, this one I bought from my local motor factors, E&M Motor Factors in Aberystwyth. However, you can get them online as well. Now, if you're going to purchase one, always purchase the air ones, because the electric ones are quite a bigger, bulkier item. I actually bought an Evolution one and really struggled to get belts for it, so definitely go for the smaller ones, because the belts are readily available and you can get them either online or you can get them from most local motor factors. So here I'm just having a quick tidy up of the welder whilst I'm waiting for the compressor to pump up. I do this most times that I'm waiting for something. I try and do a little bit of tidying. Doesn't look like it looking at the rest of the workshop, but it's surprising how much time goes to tidying up when you're a small one-man band, and you've got to try and do as much work as you can in the day, actually generating income, and sometimes, unfortunately, cleaning up and tidying up gets pushed to one side because, unfortunately, nobody pays you for tidying up. So this is my father. He's just popped over to ask me, do I want a cup of tea? With all the cups in his hand, you would think that that's all I do is drink tea, and that might be correct. However, I'll never say no to another one. So we've managed to salvage this side. Managed to get a little bit of weld in there. Needs a bit of finishing to dress that off, but for the intents and purposes of that, that is working. That'll be fine. The other side, as yet, I haven't worked out exactly how we're going to do that. I did think about cutting it out completely and then making a sleeve and welding the sleeve in. Although that side worked so well, I'm now thinking about welding this up and setting up the line borer to line bore through. And as I'll only have to set up one side and I'll run it on the mag drill, I'll only have to run one bearing, so it should be a relatively quick setup. Or my other option is I've got an extender to run a larger mag drill length. So I'll have a look now whether I've got a 50mm mag drill cutter, and if I have, I'll just mag drill through onto there. So we'll have a look and see what we've got at our disposal. So after having a little thought, going back and forth, which way's best to do it, I decided that we'd just machine a sleeve up, plasma cut the hole slightly bigger, drop the sleeve in, and then buzz a weld right round and linish it off flush. That way I've enabled myself to put a deeper sleeve in, which now will locate on the good part of the ram, not the piece that's been worn through this playing back and forth. I'll show you that in a minute. So I'm going to buzz a weld round here now, and then we'll linish that off, ready to go. So that's just cooling down there. So in having put that sleeve in to actually go down further inside this box section, what I've enabled myself to do is, instead of it locating on this worn proportion here, it's now locating further on down here where it hasn't been rubbing against it, because from this point where the circlip is down to here is actually tapered by about 1.5 mil. So now it's locating down here, it's be a tighter fit. So we'll get it back in now. I've managed to go out at lunchtime and get a circlip for it. So we'll put that back together, trial fit, make sure it's all locating tidily, and then we'll rebuild the ram back up and put it back together again. There's a little slight piece there that I need to linish out with a belt sander, or I might even use the rotary sander on the drill just to clean that off, and that should be ready to go back then. So there we are, all linished off, so we can fit the and there we are, just like that. That's all done. That's as tight as it can be in there, and as tight as it can be in there. I put a little bit of copper slip on that as I was putting it back together. I cleaned up the spring, put a bit of copper slip on that, and then when we put the gland back in, I put a little bit of oil on there. So that's now ready to go back to the customer. No need for a new ram, and we've saved the headstock as well. So all in all, I would say that's a good job done. On to the next, and the next job for me now is a bumper repair for a Scania lorry, I believe, off a well-known cattle dealer. I'm not going to mention names because I haven't had his permission to mention his name on it, but a very, very nice bloke. Red lorry from Aberystwyth. You know, if you know who he is, you know who he is. Really nice bloke. Unfortunately, caught the bumper whilst coming out of a place the other day in the storm. Couldn't go down the road he normally goes down because there was a tree down, and inevitably caught the bumper on the hedge somewhere and just ripped it, one of the lugs off it. So it now was, so he cable tied it up, managed to get home, and tonight we'll get it repaired. Try and do it tonight for him and get it finished and go up there and fit it. But we have got tomorrow's leeway because it's on the weekend. He needs the machine, needs the lorry. So hopefully we can sort that out in short succession and get a bit of sleep tonight. Tomorrow then, the plan tomorrow is we've got a quad box to go out. So we need to get that one welded up, custom quad box. We've also got a quad tray to do because we haven't got one in stock. We've got a few things on the plasma cutter to cut out, Christmas presents for people, or Christmas orders. And then hopefully on the weekend, keep saying we're going to do it, but we just keep pushing it down the line because it's not actually critical to get it done straight away. Is this trailer behind me? We're going to get a new door on this, get that fitted. That can come out, and then we've got a few small jobs to do. We're going to empty the workshop, smooth things around. Got a job for myself over Christmas, and then we've also then got a forestry machine outside, big skidder that's going to come in here, rip the cab off, and basically rebuild the cab and refit it again. Really old machine. Noah pushed the arc in with it, I think. However, it's something quite interesting. So we'll do quite a few videos on that when we get it in here. And yeah, so hit like and subscribe if you've enjoyed. And thank you very much. And we will catch you again.